Gloria.
Hold still, straight ahead.
Gloria.
Wait 1 second. Stop right there. Right here.
Down?
It's blocked area.
Okay.
This way, Gloria.
Okay.
This way, one more time, Gloria. Thank you. Thank you.
Over here.
Okay, thank you.
Come straight down.
All right.
Gloria, talk about that sign.
Okay. This is what justice looks like. 20 plus 3 years sentence handed down by Judge Burke this morning after compelling arguments by the prosecution and after arguments by the defense. And most importantly, after heartfelt victim impact statements, one by my client Mimi and the other by the victim Jessica. I was in court. It was very emotional for my clients. Each and every one of my clients, Mimi, Lauren, Annabella, were all crying. Here is just the last part of what Mimi said in her victim impact statement. She said, "I've never felt vengeful, and going into this initially, I didn't even feel anger. I just felt sad. Sad for myself, sad for everyone he hurt, and I even felt sad for him for having done this to himself. But I have observed an indifference, a lack of remorse, a lack of acknowledgement, a lack of awareness and self-awareness by the defendant throughout this process that has made me feel anger, that has left me concerned that he is completely disconnected from the gravity of the crime that he committed against me and the impact it's had. I can only hope that whatever sentence the court sees fit is long enough for Harvey Weinstein to acknowledge what he's done and to be truly sorry. And I think, and this is my opinion, that this sentence is long enough for him at least to begin to understand what he's done. Whether he will ever be truly sorry, I don't know.
What did you think of his statement?
But his statement was rambling. He had a right to make it. He indicated some remorse, whether it was heartfelt, whether it was remorse for having been convicted, having been sentenced to prison, or expecting to be sentenced to prison, I don't know. But I'm really not concerned about Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, I will see again, because I will see him again in Los Angeles, because the Los Angeles case, the criminal case against Mr. Weinstein, will move forward. I have every reason to believe there'll be a very speedy attempt to extradite him. Don't know whether he will fight extradition. If he does, I don't know on what grounds, but we'll have to see. But as I have indicated previously, I represent Lauren, who was one of the Molyneux witnesses in this case, and she is one of the two victims for whom charges have been filed in Los Angeles. So she will be testifying there as well, and I'll be representing her there as well. So I want to say that Rosie Perez, who was sitting next to me in court, and who is being extremely supportive of her dear friend Annabella, and who gave very, very compelling and strong and courageous testimony, asked me to say that she feels that this is for all sexual assault victims. And she feels their voices are now being heard. And it was very emotional for Rosie in court as well. So I would like to say that I do think it's in my opinion, a fair and appropriate sentence. He was afforded due process. He had 5 defense attorneys sitting in court almost every day. Most defendants cannot afford even one private defense attorney. So he got all the due process that anyone could get and more because his attorneys demanded it, and I believe that they got it.
What do you think about what he said about men being confused?
Men being confused. Well, maybe he's confused. I don't know if he's speaking for all men. I don't know that he would have a vote from all men to be their messenger, but I will say this. If you are a sexual predator and you are confused, all you have to do is remember this. 20 plus 3 years. And part of the consideration in handing down a sentence by a court to a person convicted of felonies is to consider the deterrent effect. So for all those who are still preying on women, who want to engage in the high risk taking of harming women and thinking you'll get away with it, that gamble is likely not to pay off for you anymore. And if you're a high profile figure, don't expect anything but equal justice. Don't expect more than equal justice under the law.
Gloria, you seem very emotional. Why are you so?
I'm very emotional because I'm feeling the emotions of my clients. I know what they've been through. I know what they've been through when they testified. I know how it has been for them behind the scenes. I know how hard it has been for them. But they have faced their fears, and they have shown courage. And as Susan B. Anthony has said, courage is the best protection a woman can have. And because of their courage, and because of the voices of so many other women speaking out, there is finally as much justice as is possible in this case.
Does it represent
having all of those women together in that room, walking in that room, being there in concert, further from being in the shadows where they came from? Talk about that.
All of the 6 witnesses called by the prosecution were in the courtroom this morning. They were also, I was just with all of them as well, and also prior to their coming down. Many of them are still processing the sentence. They're just overwhelmed and still trying to understand it. But I have expressed to the district attorney and to Cyrus Vance and to Jonah Luzzi and to Megan how very professional they were. I do feel that this New York prosecutor engaged in a big risk when he took this case because it was an unusual case. It involved persons who were acquaintances, not a stranger in a dark alley rape case. It involved witnesses who sometimes had communication with the defendant afterwards. This is very unusual. And it's against a powerful figure. But the empowerment of women met the power in the courtroom, and the district attorney took that risk, and I thanked him for that. What's tomorrow for this women? For these women, I don't, well, we'll have to see. I think they're taking it day by day at this point.
Will anyone speak today? Will anybody speak here today? Any of your clients?
Nobody will be coming out right now. I think they have all left the courthouse.
Is it a victory of the Me Too movement?
Pardon me?
Is it a victory of the Me Too movement?
Pourquoi pas? This is a case, and it had to be judged by the evidence admitted in the courtroom. But obviously, we are living in an age when women are no longer willing to suffer in silence. They are going to be courageous. They are going to be empowered, not just in New York, not just in the United States, but I'm feeling it in many places around the world. Women are going to speak out and demand justice from those who are sexually preying on them in the workplace, in their home, everywhere, in the sports world, in the entertainment world, in the business world, in the religious world, in every world where they walk. And they're going to demand respect and dignity, and most of all, justice, because justice has been far behind in terms of meeting the needs and the rights of women. We can talk out about victimization of women, but unless there's serious consequences for those who commit criminal acts against women, it will mean nothing. And now there are consequences to be remembered, and more potential consequences for Mr. Weinstein in the future. I don't fail to give him credit for some of the things that his defense attorney said that he should get credit for. Okay, he contributed to good causes, he helped other people in their careers, and whatever else he has done. But he's convicted of a violent felony against my client. He got 20 years for criminal sexual assault of my client, Mimi. Potentially 3 years, it's not 100% clear, for rape in the third degree against Jessica, whom I do not represent. This is a new day. It's a new day for women to know that if you have courage, there will be consequences for the predators who hurt you. So for the predators who are going to wake up in fear tomorrow and say, are they coming after me next? My answer is probably yes.
Thank you, Gloria.
I have a question. One of the jurors said that...
And we have been listening to Gloria Allred, a well-known women's rights attorney, reacting to this breaking news this morning. That breaking news, Weinstein has been sentenced to 23 years in prison. Allred said she believes Weinstein did receive a fair and appropriate sentence.